what's up? And I'm here to talk about my top 5 favorite fighting games. Now, this used to be my favorite type of games, but as I've gotten older, I realized fighting games only really last me for like a week, and then I never play them. So that's why I barely buy any more these days. But let's get into it. My number 5. Number 5 is Marvel vs. Capcom Part 2. Part 2, I should say. Well, I should show. Yeah, this game was probably every nerd's dream, and of course, this game was awesome as hell. I had it for the Dreamcast, and actually, I didn't really have a store-bought copy. You know, I had a friend who had a friend who had a friend that made like bootleg games, and like he gave me this disc that I had to put into the Dreamcast, and then I'd have to take the disc out and put in his disc in. It was weird, but either way it worked. And this game was awesome. It was so much better than the first one because the second one had like so many more characters. I had like about like 40 or 50 for all I know. I can't even remember. But it was basically like Street Fighter. Graphic wise, it was like Street Fighter. Move wise, it was like Street Fighter. And the only difference was it was just characters from Marvel. You know, had all the X-Men guys, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk. You know, all the main staples when it came to the Marvel Universe. And then Capcom, it had guys from Street Fighter, it had Resident Evil characters, it had Mega Man, it had Darkstalkers characters and so forth. And it was just cool, you know, to see a matchup between Jill Valentine from Resident Evil against Spider-Man. You know, shit you never see. It was so awesome, so cool. And of course my character was Cable because he had that gunshot, you know, that one move where it was like if you got it off, it was like a 50 hit combo. That was my character. So number 4. And number 4, I'm gonna have to go with Street Fighter 4. And this game really brought you back to playing Street Fighter 2. Of course, Street Fighter 2 was, you know, the fighting game that kind of pretty much made the whole fighting genre. You know, since that game came out, it kind of every game, all these other fighting games started coming out and so forth. And this, you know, they came out with all these other versions. You know, Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and then, you know, then they came out with the Part 3, then they came out with Alpha, and Alpha 0, Alpha 1, Alpha 2, and then they finally just, you know, came out with a real good sequel, and it's Street Fighter 4, and this one is awesome. Like I said, it brings me back. It's almost like playing the exact same Street Fighter 2, but just better graphics, of course. The only thing, though, I wish is that they would have updated the characters. Like, you know, I mean, Street Fighter 4 is supposed to happen a long time after Street Fighter 2, I would assume. So why did like all the characters look exactly the same, wearing the exact same outfits? You know, it would have been cool to see Chun-Li without her braids, maybe with like street gear on. It would have been cool, you know, just to see stuff like that, but it didn't. But overall, though, it's really fun. I was just over at my friend Fernando's house, and we had a battle going on, and of course I beat him. And my character is Ken. Ken is awesome. Ken is pretty much the same character as Ryu, but Ken is a little bit cooler, and he, you know, he has the fire uppercut, which is awesome. And that's number 4. Number 3, I have to go with Mortal Kombat 2, and for the Super Nintendo. I don't have it. I used to have it. I sold pretty much all my Super Nintendo games, but this game was insane. They were the first, I guess, fighting game to really have not like hand-drawn characters, but like actual. It was almost like they took like a digital photo of like a real actor and put him in the game, and it was so cool. You know, they did the whole fatality thing, which was so creative at the time, and Part 1 was good, but Part 1 was a little bit. It only had 7 characters, and there wasn't much to do, and there was only 1 fatality. But Part 2, they stepped it up. Part 2 had about, I think, 12 characters, and they had 2 fatalities each, but then they also had a friendship, a babality, animality, and they would also have stage fatalities, which was awesome. So cool. A lot more characters, like I said. The only thing is, I wished Sonya was in part 2, because Sonya was my character in part 1. And then, of course, she wasn't in part 2. She was captured, and you could see her in the background of the Shao Kahn level. But my character in part 2, it was tough because I played it a lot, and I used to use a lot of characters. But in the end, I'd probably have to either say Sub-Zero or Liu Kang. It's a toss-up between the two. But I love that game, and the Super Nintendo version was flawless. It pretty much had the graphics of the arcade version, but you know, you could play the story mode, and oh no, that one had 5 continues. I think it was either, I'm not sure, it either had unlimited or 5 continues, but it was just cool having it at home, and it looked exactly like the arcade. And that was my number 3, and it's Mortal Kombat 2. For number 2, I'm gonna go with Tekken 2, but it sucks because I have Tekken 1 and I have Tekken 3 and I can't find my Tekken 2. I don't know where the hell it is, but it's just odd that I have 1 and 3 and I can't find 2. And my number 2 is Tekken 2. But this game was crazy because I remember when I first got my PlayStation, which is bam smack right here, and you know, I remember when I first got it, the game that I really wanted was Tekken, just because I'd never seen a fighting game look like these games. I mean, it was 3D. You know, all the previous fighting games were 2D, and this one was 3D. And I mean, at the time, I thought it was cool, but when you look back now, I mean, Tekken 1 kind of looked like shit. I mean, compared to games now. But my favorite was Part 2, and Part 2 was so cool. It's just more characters. The graphics were a huge improvement over Part 1. And I remember I would go to my friend George's house, which lives like a block, which lives like 5 houses down. But he doesn't live there anymore. But when he did live there, I used to go over there and I'd bring Tekken 2 and we would just play for like 3 hours. And my character was June. I think it's June. Was it Jill? No, it's June. And then she turns out to marry Kazuya in Part 3, and then they have a child named Jin. I think that's what it is. She was my character, but this game was awesome, and then it was so much fun, amazing graphics. That's my number 2. And number 1, I'm gonna have to go with Dead or Alive Part 4. And Dead or Alive was awesome. I mean, they took the 3D fighting genre and completely mastered it. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, Part 4, the graphics were insane. Super, it just looked incredible. And then, what was cool about Dead or Alive was, I don't know if this is cool or not, more perverted, but they focused more on the women characters. And, of course, they were the first game to kind of incorporate or focus on the jiggling, bouncy boobies that pretty much they were known for that. I remember I had the first one for the PlayStation 1, and I remember there was an option to like toggle how bouncy they would be. It was just, I'd never seen anything like that before. And I used to have that game, and of course I sold it, but now it's probably worth a bunch. But this game was so much fun. The fighting was just so fast, and it was just awesome. And then of course the graphics. It was just a fun game. I mean, it looked awesome. It's my favorite fighting game, hands down. I just wish, because I know the guy who made it, I think he's suing Tecmo, and he just waits way too long to put out the Dead or Alive. Like, we probably won't even see a Part 5. If we do see one, it probably won't be for like another 3 years. And he should just pop these games out. I mean, they're so awesome. Oh, Dead or Alive 4 was, for the first time, had online fighting, and I thought I was good, but when you go online, you get wrecked, and it turns out I kind of suck. But what are you gonna do? But anyways, oh, and my character I use is the girl with the brown hair with the bangs. What's her name? I don't remember her name, but she's the one that's from Germany in the game, so I use her. And alright guys, thanks for watching. That's my top 5 fighting games. Rate, comment, subscribe. See you later.